Do you know what I want? For peace to rule my heart. Do you know what I need? Nothing I do not have. Do you know what I see? A universe fading. Do you know what I fear? That this world may be real. Do you know what I hear? My brother's call for love. Do you know what I know? Everything and nothing. Do you know what I touch? Illusion. Illusion. Do you know what I smell? Fear of death everywhere. Do you know what I feel? A great need for healing. Do you know what I give? The gift of forgiveness. Do you know what I am? The Son of the Father. Do you know what I sense? That I never left home. Do you know what I seek? To awake from my dream. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I'm Francois-Marie Benard, and it's a privilege to be here and to share this moment with you. Thanks to Lisa and Gerald Burwell and all the staff of VIE Magazine for organizing this first filmed event of VIE Speaks, in French, La Vie Parle. I love that. It's an honor to have been chosen for this very special occasion. The past is history. The future is a mystery. But this moment is a gift. This is why it is called the present. I wish I could take credit for such a nice saying. It's not from me, it's from a Tibetan Lama, I believe, and I heard it first from Wayne Dyer, who has always been an inspiration to me. Let us share this moment as the gift that it is. We have so much to give to one another. We spend 90% of our time in the past, mostly feeling guilty about it, and 10% of the rest of our time worrying about the future. Meanwhile, we completely ignore this eternal now, which is given to us as a blessing. My friends, we have made a mess of our lives. This world is a creation of our egos. And the ego, the little devil within us, is against everything that we are. For we are perfect, holy, and sinless spiritual beings. We are not these bodies, this decaying flesh, these little monsters that we keep projecting to each other. We are not this illusion of ourselves. We are not this dream. We are not this death. God, creation, spirit is our only cause. It is eternal, infinite, unchanging, ever expending of itself throughout the universe. This force of creation, this energy we see as light, we feel as love, and we experience as life, is one. And so we are one with it and with each other. There is nothing but oneness in this universe. The only place where that oneness is not expressed is in our imagination. Somehow, somewhere we have imagined that we are separate from it. It is impossible to be separated from oneness. Separation is a dream, a mistake of our minds at best. Yet, we have learned to call this dream reality. This is not reality at all. This is insanity. Just turn on the news channel and you'll get the idea. Luckily for me, I was fortunate to grow up in an unpolluted place. I was born on a small island off the coast of Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. My royalist ancestors had self-exiled there some 200 years ago to escape the brutal revolution and the guillotine. My father was a diplomat, and my mother was a school teacher. They lived there happily and gave birth to a loving family of 6. Growing up in Madagascar in the mid-1900s was a dream. We had no television, one radio station which played for a mere 2 hours a day. Life evolved around family and friends. We sang by campfires, we fished, hunted, and picnicked by cascades. We prepared exotic foods served in banana leaves. We ate with our fingers. We swam in lagoons and explored the jungle without fear. Nature was always magnificent and overwhelming. Love, invested in us by caring parents, was ever present in our hearts, and laughter cheered our lives. I keep the memory of my golden childhood like a treasure in my mind. I was born in a time that is gone. I was born in a world that was free. Innocence ruled those days like a swan, and children of heaven had the key. With lagoons, deep forests, and wild streams, my island was happy in the sun. It was there that I dreamed my first dreams. It was there I grew up as God's son. Where on earth have you gone, blissful days? What are you but waning memories? All I see is a world that decays. All I have is unsolved mysteries. I've always had the soul of a loner. In Madagascar as a young boy, I spent countless hours sitting on empty, virgin beaches, facing the wild ocean, being lulled by the crashing of the waves. There was a world out there I had yet to explore. Somehow I knew I had to learn from love and hate. I had to grow from pain and loneliness, friendship and betrayal, success and failure, fame and rejection. Wisdom is only acquired when one has touched his inner core, mastered his fears, and tasted the bitterness of life. On the blue horizon, there often were white silhouettes of traveling ships, and I wonder what purpose propelled them across the ocean. I love those boats which took away my dreams like the winds in their sails. Whenever my mom asked me, "How much do you love your mom?" I always answered, "I love you like a little boat on the sea." Often my dad, to whom I was very close, would come and sit by my side to contemplate the horizon. "Can you see the beauty? Can you see perfection? Do you feel the Spirit, the hand of God in all?" My father had a soul, and yes, like him, I could see the beauty. I could feel the Spirit. I was born with a strong need for spirituality and a deep sense of destiny. Moreover, at an early age, I learned to listen to that inner voice. Something inside, greater than my body, my name, or even my family, was constantly talking to me. You do not understand that I am this island, these mountains, these beaches, this people, this lagoon. All that is here, I am. The sky, the sea, the land. I am the stars. I am the sun. I am the moon. I am that old man there. I am that laughing child. I am beauty and purity and innocence. I am that soaring bird, that young doe in the wild. And I am you, my son, in your magnificence. I am also the dream that you have created, the violence, the greed, the hatred, and the lust. I cry in every war for life desecrated. I cry when potential is wasted in the dust. Don't you see the beauty that is all around you? Don't you hear the music playing now in your heart? Don't you grasp the great works that your mind could pursue? Don't you feel all the life of which you are a part? Do you not understand that this world is but one, that all that's felt and thought has the same origin? Do you not understand that all under the sun take their source from my love, from which all things begin? That was the voice of Spirit speaking to me, as it speaks to all of us at all times. The source of everything beautiful that will always be with us, no matter what our past or our mistakes. The voice we so rarely listen to. Thousands of years ago, Socrates said, "I know only one thing. It's that I know nothing." We must recognize that in this world we know very little, for we perceive the world wrongly. We perceive it from the ego's point of view, through the veil of ignorance and fear that has ruled this planet for millennia, and that has been passed on faithfully to us by family, education, religion, superstition, and tradition. From my early childhood in Madagascar, I always wanted to become an actor. We didn't have television there, but we had 4 movie theaters, and I saw every movie that played there. Most of them came from Hollywood. And I became imbued with the beautiful messages of love, courage, and honor that inspired them then. And so, motivated by the heroes of those magnificent stories and driven by passion for the cinema, my path eventually led me to Hollywood. I thought I was going to play great roles that would inspire the world, inspire little boys like me on some half-deserted island in the middle of nowhere. But Hollywood has changed. The most influential force on the planet has been corrupted by greed and lust and immorality. It has fallen into a material consciousness without bounds. And so, disenchanted by a world that I could not understand after some 20 years of relative success, I left, realizing that my destiny had something much more significant in store for me. I bought a ranch in Colorado, and I walked for days and days in pine forests, reconsidering everything in my life, asking myself endless questions. Why is the world so mad that little children cry? Why do we allow greed without public outcry? Why raise an animal to slice him with a knife? Why do we think we have the right to take a life? Why do we chop down trees and chase the birds away and keep fouling the air to make our blue skies gray? Why do we let seals choke in our polluted seas? Why do we let rainbows sink in the same spoiled seas? Why are we all so vain and behaving like fools? Why do we think it's great to keep bending the rules? Why do we always kill in the name of freedom? And why should we have to die to enter the kingdom? Why is it called a sin when we love all the way? And why should we be blamed for not acting your way? Why do we chase the moon when we don't care for earth? Why have we laughed at hope since the day of our birth? And why am I so blue and tired of living when God made this day bright and this life a blessing? Well, I kept asking why. God whispered in my ear, why don't you search your heart? The answers are all here. To become an adult, by that I mean to grow in consciousness, we have to undo everything we have been taught since we were born. We are souls, not bodies, and as souls or cells of God, we know everything, we are everywhere, and we have all things. We are perfection, beauty, knowledge, completion, wholeness. We are like God, for creation creates like itself. Yet, we have been brainwashed to believe that we are sinners. Sin comes from the Latin word sine, which means without. It is impossible to be without God or creation. We have been told that we're separated from our source and each other. We have been told that we're white or black, yellow or red, male, female, pretty, ugly, smart, stupid, winners, losers. We have been taught to hate, to lack, to see differences, to be politically correct, to perceive an ugly side of life, which is not there. We have been taught to fear God, fear each other, and fear ourselves. And so we see a world of division and darkness, because that world is in us. And that's what we project. However, there is a truth in us which cannot be denied. There is a place in our minds which is still pure, for it cannot be touched. There is a place in me that no one knows about. There's a place in me in which there is no doubt, no guilt, no sin, no shame, no bitterness, no fear. There is a place in me where God speaks loud and clear. When in the outside world I hear of greed and lust, in that place of silence, He speaks to me of trust. He speaks of love and forgiveness, of tolerance. In that place of silence, I find deliverance. I have searched all my life for a place to be free, only to find it here, buried inside of me. Don't ever underestimate an infant who is just born, for he or she knows exactly what you're searching for. An infant knows a lot more than we do, for he just left the spirit world and still remembers it. Look in the eyes of that infant, and you will see purity, perfection, and truth. Forget everything you have been taught. Forget all the lies you have heard that are meant to control and manipulate you. Go back to that innocence you first knew as a child. What we call the age of reason, 6, 7 years of age, I call the age of prison. For when a child learns to conform to the mediocrity of our world, as he descends into the veil of matter, he gradually falls asleep into the world of illusion and becomes dumb and blind. We do not remember a thing about our early childhood because during those very first years on earth, we learn to adapt to this limiting flesh. We are pulled down into the dream of matter, the duality of time and space. And with minds quickly filling up with junk, we begin to forget who we are and begin to accept this illusion, this projection of our newborn egos as our reality. Now we are trapped. So we learn to compete for attention, for success, for survival, and inevitably dissatisfied. We seek vain pleasures in alcohol, drugs, sex, money, power, rebellion, all the mundane things that bury us even more into the dream of life, but make us feel that we are somebody in this unreality. Like novelists or playwrights who develop characters which never existed, we write our destiny. But feeling alone, divided, and forsaken by God, we fear judgment and punishment. We fear because subconsciously we know it is not us. We know that we've been deceived, but somehow we can't find the strength or the courage to walk out of this dream willingly. When that happens, my friends, stop and do nothing and tell yourselves, I am as God created me, and that is all I have to be. In spite of the insanity we've made of our lives, something in us still aspires to love and to be loved. Something still thirsts to create, to give, to express the beauty within us. Something compels us to reach deep inside and remember that we are one, perfect and immortal. And all the while, our ego, the deceiver, fights back to pull us back into the hell it invented to justify its existence. For our ego is at war with God. And until we conquer ourselves, that conflict will be the eternal struggle of mankind. But in fact, there is no war at all. There is no conflict, no struggle, unless we are dreaming that God can be defeated. I dream of separateness when I dwell in oneness. I dream of servitude when I have plenitude. I dream of poverty when I am royalty. I dream of ignorance when I have cognizance. I dream of war and hate when love is my state. I dream of damnation when I have salvation. I dream of a dark night when I live in the light. I dream of a prison when I have arisen. There are two beautiful Tibetan proverbs that are intimately related. The first one says, when the student is ready, the master appears. And the second one is, I can only teach you what you already know. You see, if you're not ready to learn something, the teaching will not come because you wouldn't be receptive. And what we're not ready to understand, we do not accept. And what we do not accept, we doubt. And what we doubt, we fear. And what we fear, we try to make fun of, to hide the fact that we are not ready or not willing to learn. We can learn any day from books, movies, people we meet, stories we're told. We can learn from anybody, from observing nature, from an animal. You kick a dog because you're frustrated, even though he has nothing to do with your problem. But he comes back and licks your hand to show you that he loves you regardless of your kicking. Now, if you are ready, right there and then, you'll understand how unconditional love is. You will understand because it is in you, because you have never truly forgotten about it. And so that teaching will awaken a knowledge which was always there, yet was dormant within you. And so that dog or whoever your teacher is at the time will only teach you what you already know. That's all that learning is. A rediscovery of what we already know. But we must be willing. Know thyself, said the wise Pythagoras. Awakening is the willingness to question and to relearn everything we know. It leads to an awareness of who we truly are. After my two first books, The Dream of Life and The Thread of Love, awakening is the subject matter of my third book of poetry, which should be coming soon. Here's a sample of it. We must all awaken to the truth within us. We must all remember our Father glorious. United, regardless of the paths we have trod, we must speak as one voice and praise one loving God. Let us end all judgment, guilt, and condemnation and erase the sick lie of our separation. In the brother we hate, in the face we abhor, let us see the Savior we have been looking for. Let our minds seek one goal. Let our hearts beat as one. Out of our multitude, let us become one son. Acting as one nation and as one human race, we can rethink this world outside of time and space. Let us forget the past and start on a new slate. Let us learn how to live. Let us rewrite our fate. In rediscovering our integrality, let us reclaim freedom and immortality. I recognize the Spirit in you. There is nothing else to see. Now let us all stand up. Come on, and demonstrate this and say this to the person on our right and our left. Right now, stand up everybody and say, I recognize the Spirit in you. Come on, hug the person on your left and on your right. Come on, share life, share this moment. I recognize the Spirit in you. There's nothing else to see. Good show. All right, sit down. We don't have all day. I'll share a cute story with you. When I just arrived in New York City, I was set up as a blind date with this young actress. In those days, my English was very poor, and I thought a date was something you ate, a fruit from a palm tree. But anyway, I guess I lacked enthusiasm. My mind was not on dating, so I showed up very late to pick her up. My date was a stickler for time. She had told herself, if that guy shows up 1 hour late, I will not open my door. Well, I actually rang her doorbell 1 minute before the deadline. 59 minutes late. I know, I'm guilty. Okay. She was a block of ice. No hello, no handshake, no kiss, no hug, nothing. She picked up a pocketbook, slammed the door behind her, and we were on our way. We rode the elevator, took a cab to Central Park without a word. It was deadly. I was afraid of looking at her. The cab dropped us on Fifth Avenue, and we had to cross the street. Even though it was raining slightly, she started walking slowly, and the cars were barreling down the street. I thought she was going to get killed, so I ran to her. I grabbed her hand to take her to safety, and instead, I froze, and I said, Merde alors, c'est ma femme. In English, oh shit, this is my wife. This is exactly how it happened. You see, even though I didn't like anything about her, when I first touched her hand, I felt her soul. I recognized the Spirit in her. Here is a little poem that describes best what happened. Now remember, it was drizzling. We were in the middle of Fifth Avenue. I was holding her hand. Cars were honking all around us. And for the first time, I looked into her eyes. I looked at you, and life stood still. Even the rain, like a brilliant curtain of pearls, froze into space. And I was left standing before your lovely face in a cocoon of light, feeling safe, feeling sane. I looked at you, and in the deep of your blue eyes, there was the sea, relentlessly kissing my skin, devotedly washing away my every sin. And I was pure again, and I felt my soul rise. I looked at you, and suddenly my muddled past disappeared in thin air. I was no longer wild or proud or self-assured, but like a newborn child, I sensed that even then, my destiny was cast. I looked at you, and in my consciousness I knew that nothing in my world would ever be the same. And no one else from that instant would ever claim that sacred place within my hollowed heart but you. My friends, we've been asleep too long, and we have but little time. Each of us has a gift he or she needs to share, whether it is our inner beauty, our wits, love, or artistic talent, our honor, integrity, or compassion, our wisdom, or just simply the vision of a better world, we must begin to use it and to give it. Do not be arrogant in denying your God-given gift or the power of your will. Remember that the more we give, the more we receive. Shakespeare had understood it perfectly when he wrote in Romeo and Juliet, "The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite." We must remake the world into the heaven it should be. We must rewrite our destiny. Mankind cannot go on much longer being divided, judgmental, vengeful, afraid, and constantly at war. We are destroying ourselves. I was very lucky to have been born in another time on a heavenly island, untouched by the mediocrity of the outside world, and to have spent a blissful childhood with a loving family. Well, lucky may not be the right word, for I believe that as souls, we all choose every circumstance of our lives in function of what we have to learn to awaken. Our lives are but stories we have already written. And whatever we have written, the end of our dream will be magnificent. For this infinite intelligence we call God is magnificent and loving and kindly waiting for our return home. How long will it take for us to understand that and awaken is up to us. We have free will, even the free will to deny our true reality. So here in conclusion is the message of life I was privileged to receive from the Father I chose. If love could come and heal man's heart, if hope could give him new vision, if faith could make him strong and kindness pure, if a smile could light up every face, put everything in place, if a man's word was law and his handshake enough to trust, if wars could end and enemies be friends, if innocence could be restored and not seen as weakness, if sin meant but sickness or just blindness, if tolerance could rule each mind, if ignorance could but vanish, if differences were abolished, competition banished, freedom conquered, or better still, deserved, if loneliness was but a dream, if forgiveness never came late, if we could live a single day without anger or hate, without greed or envy, what a world it would be. What a world it would be. Thank you, my friends.